balance, health, and well-being in our day-to-day life. People may experience physical symptoms including restlessness, fatigue, poor concentration, tense muscles, interrupted sleep, amongst many others. To avoid any of these, get regular exercise, eat healthy, and make sleep a priority. Health is wealth. Make this your watchword. This message is brought to you by your One Family, One radio station, Super 92.7 FM.
Join our amazing news team as they dissect trending topics in politics, health, education, business, and many more. Live every day at 7:30 till 9 a.m. on 92.7 Super FM, your One Family, One radio station. Spotlight on 92.7. It's spot on.
It's 92.7 and you're listening to Spotlight.
Right, good morning. Welcome to Spotlight on Super FM 92.7. It's a little cold in the studio, but what can we say? Feeling like I'm in Canada in the studio right now.
Feels like it, really.
All right, then. Good morning. Top of the morning to you. I hope you are, holding it down wherever you are on your way to work or just lying in and hearing our voice at home. But welcome to Spotlight on Super FM. Spotlight is a current affairs program that dissects the top trending stories of the day that audience, of course, can relate with. We'll talk about politics, governance, health, education, business, and many more. We have our analyst for each day. Today, we'll be going over the World Suicide Prevention Day that was commemorated by the world Tuesday. It was actually on Tuesday, yes. But we're talking about it today: suicide awareness and prevention. I don't think there is, a particular day we shouldn't observe. That a lot of people are actually, struggling with a lot, dealing with a lot in the midst of everything going on in the country. And in some other climes, certain things fuel depression and others. And then we'll be tying that with sickle cell awareness. Yeah, so we'll have our first guest, Ogenerukewe Godwin Idiovo. He'll be joining us, and he's a volunteer program coordinator, Little Cell of Mind Foundation. Later on, we'll have a mental health counselor and addiction treatment professional, Esther Soluade. She'll be joining us to talk about suicide prevention and awareness. I am Kimberly Ubiaba, your host on the program, and Abiodun Adekunle is right here with me. Adekunle, how's it going?
Good morning. So nice to be here again.
Yeah. Not to deviate, but did you hear about the flood in Bayelsa again this morning?
Yes, I did. I think I came across a story around it, which is really sad.
And then the NCDC warning of the possible cholera outbreak.
Yes, of course, you can expect that is supposed to happen in Borno as well as a result of the flooding. Yes.
Yeah, all right then. So now let's kick it off with sickle cell. Sickle cell disease is an inherited, we'll let our guests do the talking, but just a little, overview. Sickle cell disease is an inherited blood disorder that is more prevalent in people of African descent. Research has it that about 50 million people are estimated to be living with sickle cell disease globally, but Nigeria has the highest burden, and every year an estimated 100,000 kids are diagnosed with the condition in Nigeria. That's according to the Health Ministry, and up to 80% die before they turn 5. People living with sickle cell disease experience acute pain crisis, dangerous infections, and other serious health problems that can lead to serious organ damage and failure. So our guest this morning, Ogenerukewe, will take us through, give us more insights and details on sickle cell disease and hopefully create more awareness. Hello, Ogenerukewe.
Hello, good morning.
Good to have you. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
All right, I'm glad you can hear me clearly. So now let's, what is sickle cell disease? Let's start from there.
Okay. To put it simply, sickle cell disease is like a genetic blood disorder that affects the shape and functionality of the red blood cells. So instead of the red blood cells being round and flexible and being able to carry and distribute oxygen, sickle cell disease has this ability to make the red blood cell sickled. And although they sometimes carry oxygen to some part of the body, sometimes they cannot make it to some part of the body, leading to a reduced oxygen flow throughout the body. And as a result, individuals living with sickle cell disease will experience pain episodes and other complications.
Okay. So what causes sickle cell and what are the symptoms?
Okay. It's just simple genetics. When someone is a carrier, that is, he has the AS trait or the AC trait, because there are different types of sickle cell diseases. Well, I'm just going to be giving the example of HBSS. That is when you have SS and SS. So when someone's a carrier and gets married to another person that is also a carrier, so the father has AS trait and the mother has AS trait, they have a 25% chance of giving birth to a warrior. And most times people don't go for genetic counseling, they don't know, and they just get together, get married, and end up most times with only warriors. I've seen a case where some couples are lucky and end up with people with only AA or only carriers, but there's some cases also happen that they end up with only warriors, all their children having hemoglobin SS.
Okay. All right, then Abiodun.
All right, thank you again, Godwin, just to be careful about pronouncing your name. So I wanted to ask, is there a difference between sickle cell disease and sickle cell anemia? Because I came across a study, and I'm sure you'll be in a better position to explain that.
Yes, there is a difference between the sickle cell disease and the sickle cell anemia.
Please tell us.
Sickle cell disease is like a broader term that refers to all groups of types of sickle cell disease or anything caused by the sickle cell gene. While the sickle cell anemia is just a type of sickle cell disease, however, it's a specific type that represents like the most severe form of sickle cell disease. That is the HBSS I was mentioning earlier, that's hemoglobin SS. However, there are different types of other sickle cell diseases. SC, there's beta thalassemia, yes, SD, SE, SO are very rare. So just depending on what we get, what we have most times in this world is SC and SS in this part of the world in Nigeria.
Okay. All right, then if you're listening to us, you have questions to ask our guests about sickle cell disease, be a part of the conversation. 0805 092 0927. That's 0805 092 0927. You can also call 0705 890 4927 or send a WhatsApp message to 0705 690 0962. All right, so you talked about the cause of sickle cell. How about the symptoms? How do you know when a person is a carrier?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
The symptoms of sickle cell disease. Does it have symptoms? Hello?
The symptoms. I couldn't
Symptoms.
get that, sorry.
Symptoms.
Okay, symptoms. Oh,
Yes,
all right.
yes.
Yeah, there are some symptoms of sickle cell disease. We have severe pain episode, like I mentioned earlier, where sickle cell blocks the blood flow to some part of the body, causing intense pain. We have fatigue. We have anemia, which is like low blood count and iron in the body. Since sickle cell die faster than normal regular cells, this leads to anemia, which would cause fatigue and weakness. So most people with sickle cell are often fatigued easily. We have frequent infections. So they get infections easily because of poor immune system. And then some we don't often see, we have delayed growth. So that's why you see some warriors like in their 40s and they're looking younger than, facially younger than someone in their 20s. We have vision problem where like how you're called for the severe pain crisis. A blood cell can be stuck in the eye and you end up with vision problem and not even having to see anymore. So that's why we'll always advocate for yearly screenings. We also see another part of sickle cell disease that's not often talked about is the mental health impact. As an individual living with sickle cell awareness, there's a lot of stigmatization, and these individuals face depression, anxiety, social isolation, and even body dysmorphia, given the kind of sickle cell disease, given the kind of symptoms they have in their life. There are other symptoms that comes up, like other complications rather that come up, like leg issues, leg ulcer that doesn't heal, organ damage, and so much more. So imagine going through organ damage, bone problem like a vascular necrosis, as the death of the hip bone or the death of a joint bone, and then going through surgery. You just have a very poor image of your body type.
That's really sad. I was just going to ask about complications, but you already did mention them.
Yeah.
But we live in a society where there are myths or misconceptions about the sickle cell disease. Do you want to maybe put out some of them and maybe provide the correct information about that disease so that our listeners are better informed?
Okay, I can talk on the complications a little bit.
More.
Misconceptions.
No, I was asking you already talked about the complications. Okay, do you want to say more on the complications, then you talk about the misconceptions?
Misconceptions, yeah. Like you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
So, I've already mentioned leg ulcers and organ damage. It can also happen with stroke, especially stroke in younger children. It happens for children. That's why we always advocate for children living with sickle cell to get tested, get treated earlier on to prevent any stroke disease. Mental health, acute chest syndrome, where you worry, like you feel like as if his whole chest is trying to pull out, or you wouldn't know how to help. And these are just some complications that go along with the mental health complications, the leg ulcers, gallstones, and the rest of it.
Okay. All right, then. We would like to hear from you about some misconceptions, but we'll be back shortly to talk about that. Right, Abiodun?
Yes.
Because some cases where you see albino and other, they'll just be like, oh, this one is mommy. Those kind of misconceptions
yes, exactly.
in parts of the country. All right, then, 30 minutes past 8, Spotlight on Super FM. Stay with us.
Information on the go? Join the news team on Spotlight every weekday, Monday through Friday on your number one station, Super 92.7 FM.
It's 92.7 and you're listening to Spotlight.
You have a passion for sports, but don't know how to turn it into income? With OneXBet, it might be possible than you think. Make informed predictions and earn extra cash. Simply register on onexbet.ng and download the app. Use promo code EXPERT2024 to receive a chance to get a 300% bonus. 18 plus. Play responsibly. Express yourself. You're in control. Show your skills and stand a chance to win. Play with OneXBet.
Hey, Brekete, don't pass Brekete with Glow Brekete 10X. Talk true. Yes, so with Glow Brekete 10X, every naira they count. Now, why you fit count on Glow for 10 times the value of your recharge, whether na voice or na data? Glow Brekete 10X, now the correct plan we go switch you, your family and your friends join. Hey, oh yeah, he never finish yo. Glow Brekete 10X go summon you one-time welcome bonus of 1,000 naira, double data bonus, and even bonus night data. Everything Brekete with Glow Brekete 10X. If you want to enjoy Brekete 10X, what do you wait for? Rush go any Glow World building, kiosk, or activation center. Go collect your own Glow line. Or dial *301# to jolly. Make every naira count. Count on us for 10 times the value of your recharge with Brekete 10X. Glow, powering ambition.
Glow Unlimited.
Have you been looking for avenues to reach a global audience? Would you like your business to reach your target audience and people from all walks of life? Call our commercial lines on 0816-4193-677 or walk into our office at 31 Bishop Oluwole Street, Victoria Island, Lagos. Put your business on blast on Super 92.7 FM, your one family, one radio.
Being Nigerian is a flex. Being Nigerian is unique. We get them for body. Whether you're from the east, west, north or south. You are deeply rooted in culture. Show us what you are proud of on Rep Your Tribe at 5:30 to 6 p.m. every Tuesday on the Super Drive Time Show.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. 92.7 Super FM.
It's 92.7 and you're listening to Spotlight.
All right, welcome to Spotlight. Abiodun, you were asking our guest about misconceptions.
Yes, I was asking about misconceptions and myths associated with the sickle cell disease, and I'm sure that you'll be able to provide some information on that.
Yeah. All right, again, Erica. Yeah, go on. Take it.
Gordon,
are you with us?
Could you repeat the question?
I said, just before we went on that break, I was asking you about myths or misconceptions associated with the sickle cell disease, and you were just about to provide that information before we went on the break. So please go ahead now.
All right, yes. Nigeria is a very funny place. I'll put that first. But there are a lot of myths because I grew up with sickle cell disease. There's a lot of things I've heard since my growing up. Things like it's contagious. There are people that avoided me my whole secondary school life because I didn't want to catch sickle cell. And I found it funny because it was basic genetics. But yes, I understand where they're coming from. So first of all, it's not contagious. It's passed down from parents to their children. You can't get it by sitting next to someone with sickle cell. And worldwide, let's see, popularly known one, not like it really affects us much in Nigeria, popularly known one is that only people from Africa that have sickle cell disease. While sickle cell is prevalent in Africa, in Nigeria, it also affects other ethnic groups and other people from America, Middle East, India, basically all over the world.
Okay.
Currently, there's no treatment for sickle cell. I think that's another myth, sort of. While there are no cures, like 100% cure, that's what I take as cure, because if you ask another person, they might tell you about gene therapy, and they'll tell you about like this recent research that just came out, but that one is not even 100%, or bone marrow transplant is not 100%. So while there are no cures, there are various treatments to manage the symptoms and to improve quality of life. So there are symptoms and treatments to manage sickle cell disease. And this includes blood transfusion, medications, even eating healthy, and taking part in some exercise as early as possible, gradually, because we all should do things at our own pace, but doesn't mean we shouldn't do them at all. So we should exercise at our own pace, gradually. And that's what, if any parent is listening, that's what I would encourage you to, if you have a sickle cell child, even any child, really, get them into exercising early. Another
misconception,
popularized myth is all people with sickle cell, people living with sickle cell rather, are slim. They can't carry body weight. You know them by their characteristic. While that is somewhat true, not very true, because there are people that are taking care of themselves and you wouldn't know they're living with the disease. And another one is that babies or people, human beings or people living with sickle cell die before they get to the age of 30. That is like a gross misinformation.
Okay.
Sickle cell in this day and age are living well, living healthy. That's why we always emphasize awareness in the workplace, awareness in the school, so we can take care of those kind of children so they can live a long and healthy life. Last year I saw, this year rather, during Sickle Cell Awareness Day in June 19th, there was this lady that made rounds in the internet. She's a sickle cell warrior. She just celebrated her 80th birthday, and everybody was wild. And there are people that have since getting to their 90s, yeah? So, yeah, those are some of the misconceptions about sickle cell disease.
All right. So now the health ministry is saying that Nigeria is the country with the highest burden of sickle cell disease cases. Now, what do you think is responsible for this rise? What would you blame on, babies still being born with sickle cell disease? Is it that the awareness is not enough? Is the government not doing enough? The sensitization? That's what I want to hear from you.
Okay. For my own and in my own opinion, because they are right, we have the highest prevalence of sickle cell disease in the world. And from my own opinion, I'll say there is, one, not enough experience. Two, we are, when I put it religious ignorance, I don't want to say it is religious ignorance. People just choose and feel that they can pray it away rather than doing the work. Most people don't go into parenting kids with the idea that they'll give birth to sickle cell, because I've seen, with my years of working with livestock of mine, I've seen people that we counseled that, oh no, this is not going to work. Even though it's going to work, you need to seek hematologists and professionals, basically, when you want to give birth, so they can discuss your options. But these people went ahead to ignore that. Their pastor told them that don't let anybody speak evil into you. What do you mean? That it's just 25% anyways. You can, you can give birth to an AS. You can give birth to an AA. And I just found that really annoying. So yes, I will also say that there's not enough awareness, because when we say people are giving birth to sickle cell, most of those numbers come from rural areas. We are not having enough awareness in rural areas as well, where you see somebody can just, they don't know their genotype for their whole life. No, most people in rural areas don't even care to check their genotype for their whole life. They get married, they don't know who they're getting married to. The person that they get married to don't know their genotype as well. They give birth, and they keep pumping out sickle cell warriors, and then they get worried that, oh, this child is getting sick. And sometimes they resort to all manners of things to get that child to stop having sickle cell, which might result in the death of the child, or just mental suffering, just giving child trauma. So apart from religious ignorance and awareness, I don't think any factor that has affected the increase or the rise of deaths, even in 2024.
Okay, how about the selfish needs of partners? I think we've had cases like that where, in the name of love, partners would want to ignore the fact that they're both AS and get married to each other. Even with enough awareness created, do you think that's also a factor?
Maybe previously, back then, yes. In the rural areas, yes, that could still apply. But for sub-rural areas or urban areas, I don't think that is much of a factor anymore, like in the name of love. But in rural areas, when yes, in the name of love, let's get married. What will happen, we'll take care of it, and then they don't even factor in the cost of inflation that will be going up in the time, cost of treating the patient, or the mental cost, basically. I'm even talking about financial cost. The mental cost of raising someone living in sickle cell, they don't factor that into their marriage plan. They just think it's love, 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 and go straight ahead. So yes, I do agree. But I don't so much put that in a very high regard, but I do agree that selfish nature of some partners leads to the death, even in 2024.
Okay, I think that question that Kimberly asked, it's in now because I was almost there. Sorry for another day. Anyway, so just in closing, I think that I want to ask about communities for people, you call them warriors, who are living with sickle cell disease. Do those communities exist in Nigeria? And how are those communities helping? The communities helping to, foster care, provide support, emotionally, and in so many other ways for those who have to deal with this disease.
A lot of foundations are doing beautiful work for sickle cell warriors in Nigeria. I could name a few from the top of my head. We have the SCAF, the Sickle Cell Center, Sickle Cell Awareness Foundation, I'm sorry if I missed their name because I used to be one of their beneficiaries back in the day. We have the Audrey because those people are doing a work, amazing work, but sometimes they can only do so much with the amount of funds they have. We need the government, sometimes we need government backing so we can get into the rural areas. Like for the foundation I'm with, Little Cell of My Foundation, we offer free mental health support to any and every warrior out there. Apart from the financial and the physical support that we provide to them, we also pride ourselves that we should put our mental health support front and center to warriors and their parents. Like I mentioned earlier, that the cost of living and training and bringing up someone living with sickle cell disease is a lot, and you have to put in your all sometimes, even more than regular children.
Okay. Now, is it a disease that has a cure, or it's one that just has to be managed? Does sickle cell have cure, or it's just managed? And how is it, if there's a cure, what's the cure? And if it's just about management, how is it managed?
Like I mentioned earlier, in my own books, I won't say there's a cure. There are people you ask and they'll tell you, obviously there's a cure, although it's not 50%. For my own, a cure is something that should work 100% of the time. So the treatment we have currently, stem cell treatment and the bone marrow treatment, like 50-50, doesn't always work, sometimes works, yeah. But if you can afford them, most of them are pretty expensive. That if you can afford them, I would always advocate that you go for them. Yes. But for management, it's just like managing any other chronic diseases in life. You have to take your lifestyle modification seriously, your habits, everything. And that's why we go for our awareness and advocating, because you go to the schools and you see there's no, how do I put it, special treatment left behind for warriors. There's no water break for warriors. You go to workplace and there's AC blowing. I know just somehow we can't always avoid the masses when there's a sickle cell warrior, but you have to make provisions in place when hiring a warrior, when admitting a warrior into your schools. So on you personally as a warrior, you should know how to take care of yourself. Those are the management. Apart from drugs, we have hydroxyurea, which I think is popularly known drugs. Most warriors, I won't say all warriors, because you have to meet your hematologist. You cannot take that drugs without being diagnosed.
Okay.
There are pain medications, there are treatments that we can take. But aside from that, you should know your body. Like my treatment, you take your water. There are warriors that walk around so they don't carry their water bottles. Water is a very essential part of your listening. Your nutrition, what you eat. You can't just start feeding yourself junks. This goes for parents that have kids with warriors. You can't start feeding your kids junks. You have to be very intentional with your nutrition. Take high folate foods, take high foods with antioxidant abilities like vitamin C and vitamin D, and take vegetables, eat whole grain carbohydrates, take lean proteins.
All right.
Go on regular walks.
All right.
Weather can also affect us, so make sure if the place is extremely cold, you're well padded. If the place is extremely hot, you know how to avoid to get shade for yourself.
All right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, then. Just before we wrap it up with you on the program, there's a question here. Someone sent in a message on WhatsApp. Says, please, what is the recommended delivery option for a pregnant sickle cell warrior in them?
The recommended
delivery option for a pregnant sickle cell warrior?
Okay, I am not an OB specialist. Yeah, I'm just a dietitian by profession. So I would say she should consult her OB specialist. For what I've seen, I would say for what I've seen. For what I've seen, you should always admit yourself earlier, like during your last trimester.
Who's an OB specialist, though?
To the hospital. Sorry?
Who is an OV specialist? You said OB specialist. Is that this doctors, specially treating sickle cell disease?
Obstetrics and gynecology or your hematologist.
Okay.
You should have a team of doctors treating you when you're pregnant. So you should have your gynecologist and your obstetrician and your hematologist in play. But I always advocate that pregnant people should, especially warriors, should admit themselves during their last trimester so they can be monitored thoroughly. Even if they can't afford that admission, they should always go for checkup so they can be monitored thoroughly.
Okay.
Because I've seen warriors have safe delivery. I've seen through CS, but it's just a conversation you have to have with your specialist, your medical team.
All right, then. Just let's get your final thoughts on the program this morning. Hello, your final thoughts on the program. Okay, we'll try
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I said let's get your final thoughts on the program this morning.
Okay. In closing, I just want to reaffirm that the importance of continued awareness and support for individuals living with sickle cell disease. Raising awareness helps to combat the stigma, drive better healthcare outcomes, and ensure that those affected have the resources they need to manage their condition.
Okay. All right, then. Thank you, Ogenerika. Thank you so much for being a part of the program. You're doing a great job with the awareness. I hope that we would have reduced cases soon in the country of sickle cell disease. Thank you. All right, Ogenerika Godwin Idiovo, a volunteer program coordinator, Little Cell of Mind Foundation. If you have questions, you can still send them in on WhatsApp 0705 690 0927. The conversation continues online, of course. Go to our social media handles, Facebook, Twitter, Super FM 927. This is Spotlight on air right now. Be a part of the conversation. Call 0805 092 0927. This question came in a bit late, though. It says, good morning. Please, I have a friend. Her daughters all have SS symptoms. But test results shows she's AA. Okay, it says the daughter is AA. So he mentioned earlier that he can't diagnose. You have to visit the doctor. But we'll forward that message to him, and then I'll probably talk about it tomorrow, like give the response. So stay tuned to the program. All right, then be a part of it. We're trying to reconnect with our second guest to talk about the Suicide Awareness and Prevention Day. That was on Tuesday, but I believe that every day, one way or the other, we should create awareness about mental health. A lot of people struggling with mental health. And now, suicide is a significant public health crisis with over 700,000 deaths worldwide each year. It is also the third leading cause of death among 15 to 29-year-olds globally. It knows no boundaries. It's not a matter of race, black people, white people, purple people. No. Each suicide leaves behind profound social, economical, emotional impacts affecting individuals, families, and communities globally. I would even say that it's a security concern because, we've had cases where there was a particular pilot at Biodun that was depressed and just decided to crash the plane and everybody just go down. Your bike is down. So it's a case of, cases where, I'm depressed. So you know what? I want everybody to go down with me. So then it becomes a security concern.
Exactly.
It's not a case of it doesn't bother me. I'm not depressed. So it's not my business. Beyond the part of the humanity aspects of it, reaching out to help, there's also the fact that it's a security concern for us. All right. We'll have our guest on the line. Esther Soluade, a mental health counselor and addiction treatment professional. Pronounced Soluade.
Yes, that's correct. Soluade.
All right then. Esther, good to have you on the program.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning to you. All right, welcome, Esther. First question is what is the cause of suicide? Let's start from there. What is the leading cause of suicide?
The cause is right?
Yes, of suicide, especially in our climate. Yes.
Okay. Yes. There are no single cause for why a person would, take his or her own life. Yeah, but there are so many factors that play out in why a person would be having maybe suicidal ideation, suicidal thought, or taking his or her own life. Yes, majorly underlying mental health condition are one of the main causes or risk factor for suicide, and that is, example of some of these mental health conditions are like depression, anxiety, PTSD, schizophrenia. Some mental illness, can open a person up to committing suicide. For example, the commonest one is depression, which is, becoming like an household name in our society. When someone is depressed, when there's that loss of hopelessness, and when there is hopelessness, helplessness, an overwhelming feeling of sadness. So, the person feeling like, oh, there's no hope again. There's poor perception of the future. There's poor perception of self. There's poor perception of people around him or her. That can make someone, to commit suicide. And, some form of trauma, like emotional trauma, sex trauma or sexual assault, domestic violence, this thing can also lead to suicide. Also, substance abuse and addiction. We know that, this psychoactive drug work mainly on the brain, and it can cause some distortion in the brain where a person cannot, reason very well. And now these things are overlapping actually. Someone that is battling with some mental health condition can also, take to using psychoactive substance, maybe like all these drugs and alcohol, which can disturb, the functioning of the brain and, start giving poor perception or some sort of issues, and the person may, resort to suicide.
Okay. All right.
Also, there are also economic factor, major life changes like loss of job, maybe unemployment, what's it called? Divorce, bullying, harassment. All these things can cause someone to contemplate suicide.
All right. Esther, someone sent a comment in saying that the current economy in Nigeria is the leading cause of depression that ultimately leads to suicide. Do you want to respond to that?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Someone sent a question in, a comment rather, contribution, saying that the current state of Nigeria's economy is a leading cause of depression that is pushing people to commit suicide in the country currently. Do you want to respond to that?
Okay. Yes, the person is right. This current situation in the country is pushing a lot of people to the wall. And, before someone can eventually commit suicide, these are some of the risk factors, right? It must have been that the person is, having sort of hopelessness that, the country cannot be better. I can't achieve anything. I can't make it in this country. There's no hope again. So yes, the situation in the financial hardship, unemployment, someone that is employed before or someone that is taking care of him or herself or the family before, suddenly there's a major life changes due to the economic crisis and the person could no longer do that. Okay, for example, if you look at the price of fuel. Now, someone that has been riding the car and for some reasons, for obvious reason, the person cannot afford to buy fuel. That may be like a setback. That can cause a poor perception that, it's like there is no way forward again. So yes, the person is right. Financial hardship and economic situation is actually pushing a lot of people to committing suicide.
All right, Esther, please hold that thought. There's still a lot to talk about as regards suicide awareness and prevention. Be a part of the program if you're listening to us, 0805 092 0927. Or you can send a WhatsApp message to 0705 690 0927. If you have questions or contributions, stay with us.
It's 92.7 and you're listening to Spotlight.
Super FM 92.7.
Are you ready to explore the future of our nation's growth and sustainability? Tune into PPP Pathways. This is the show where we dive into the dynamic partnerships between public and private sectors, creating pathways for nation building and sustainable development. Join the Pathfinder as he's excited to take you on this journey of discovery and transformation. Each week on PPP Pathways, he'll be bringing you expert interviews, insightful discussions, and real-world examples of how public and private partnerships are shaping our future. Remember, PPP Pathways is your gateway to understanding how we can all contribute to building a prosperous and sustainable nation. Be sure to tune in to your One Family, One radio station every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Tune in and join the movement. Tune in and join the movement.
Attention, young writer. Do you have a passion for storytelling or a way with words? Here's a chance to shine. We're excited to announce the essay writing competition just for kids, and we want you to participate.
Here's how it works. The competition is open to kids between the ages of 10 to 14. Write a 500-word essay on the theme, My Nigerian Superhero. Send your essays to essaycontestlagos@superfm.info. Please note, each contestant can only submit one entry. The top 5 essays will be shortlisted and entries are open from now until the 22nd of September 2024. This is proudly supported by Peak Milk, African Thins, Golden Penny, and Choco.
Brought to you by Super FM, inspiring the next generation.
One family, one radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Do you know that you don't need a life of luxury to enjoy a great home or invest in quality property? A healthy and happy home can lead to a longer, more fulfilling life. Investing in the right property is not just a purchase, it's a valuable investment in your future. As we enter the Ember month, we encourage you to secure and enrich your future to build a joyful and prosperous family life. Embrace the opportunity to live a life you will truly cherish. This message is brought to you by your One Family, One radio station, Super 92.7 FM.
Football is life.
It's Haaland! It's 1-0 City!
Football is worth living for.
Here's Lucas Moura! Oh, they done it!
Football spurs you on. You feel every kick of the leather, every blade of grass, because you crave the ride on the undiluted, controversial, and of course, the best analytical side of the game. Join the sports team on a 45-minute cruise ride where we dissect, critically analyze, and mastermind everything football. It's For the Love of the Game every weekday from 6:15 up until 7 p.m. on Super 92.7 FM. For the love of the game, we crave the game.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. 92.7 Super FM.
It's 92.7 and you're listening to Spotlight.
Still Spotlight right here in Super FM. Kimberly is my name and Abiodun is right here in the studio. We have our guest with us talking about suicide prevention and awareness. So Abiodun, take it away.
All right, Esther, please confirm if you can still hear us.
All right. Go on with the question.
All right. Okay, Esther. So I just wanted to find out about, you said a lot about what the triggers are, so there's no need to ask about that anymore. So I just wanted to find out if there are, maybe honest ways we can, encourage honest and open conversation around suicide in Nigeria. You know that when someone attempts suicide in Nigeria, it comes with a lot of stigma. And even if the person is successful at it, the family have to deal with that stigma, for a very long time. People point at their houses and say, look at the family of that individual who killed himself the other day. but you know that this is just beyond merely just taking your own life. There are so many issues surrounding it. So how can we have, open and honest conversation about the many things that we have to deal with? I mean, Kimberly just asked you a question about someone saying, oh, maybe the economic situation of the country can lead to some depression. But you find that people bottle up these matters and they don't talk to anyone. Then tomorrow you hear that they have taken their own lives.
Yeah. Okay, yes. For some time now, we've been really advocating for encouraging open conversation on mental health and even suicide prevention, because the reason why a lot of people will not ask for help is because of this stigma and people abusing them and all of that. So the first thing we need to do, and research has actually proven that a lot of people that commit suicide, they actually open up to one person or the other before they eventually carry out the act. So the question is, when these people open up, what exactly was done about it? So first and foremost, we need to educate ourselves about mental health and suicide. It's not an event. It's not an event. So someone do not just wake up one day and just decide to take his own life. It's a series of things. So we must educate ourselves about mental health. Being able to identify these warning signs or these risk factors or these signs when someone begins to exhibit all this, so that we can call for help on time, or maybe encourage the person to seek help or get help on behalf of the person. So we need to encourage ourselves, and we need to address this issue with empathy. Social media is becoming something else these days. You see someone write something online, maybe, oh, I want to kill myself. You see people say, oh, go and take this. You think you are the only one. So we need to, address this issue with empathy. Our threshold is, for challenges actually differs. And our level of resilience is not also the same thing. So, and also people that have been a survivor, we encourage them, to open up, to share their story, so that, other people can also learn that, eventually you can come out of your challenges and all. So we must by every way possible, invest in mental health initiatives, encouraging people that are into some of these things. And also government should also make mental health accessible.
We're going to ask you about the solution. But before that now, is it mental health illnesses, are they hereditary?
Sorry?
Mental health illnesses, are they hereditary?
Yes, gene also play a role in, whether someone will come down with mental illness. So they are actually genetic factor, which is hereditary, and they are also environmental factor. So hereditary is, in terms of gene, if there is history of mental illness in the family, there is high possibility that someone will also come down with mental illness. However, some people may not eventually come down with mental illness if they are not maybe major life issue or major challenges that can trigger it. Some people can just live on their life despite the fact that they have it. Maybe there are no major trigger, to bring that out, while some people will just come down with it. So hereditary factor, and there are also environmental factor. Environmental factor is some of these things that we said earlier, like, the economic or financial hardship, maybe loss of job and all of that.
All right. So how can mental health illnesses be managed? Let's tone it down to depression, and how can it be managed?
How can
mental illnesses be managed?
How can mental health illness be managed? Yes, there are a lot of ways it can be managed. Early intervention is actually very important. A lot of times when we talk about mental health, people think maybe until you start tearing your clothes or you start talking to yourself, that's when someone has come down with mental illness or mental health challenges. It comes on when you begin to notice maybe, some of these signs that I've mentioned earlier, maybe overwhelming sadness, loss of interest in things that you previously enjoyed. But it is a signal that you need to call for help, and that is professional help. So you can afford therapy, you can go speak to a counselor. That would help, to quickly address the matter before it escalates. So counseling, therapy help
But
in
therapy is
managing these things.
expensive, Esther. Therapy can be really expensive. What other therapy can be really expensive? Are there other alternatives?
Therapy is actually expensive, but there are some initiative, that do some of these things free of charge at no cost.
Like which one?
And some of there are so many helplines. A lot of investment is actually going to mental health. So there are some helplines that are free that people can call, or maybe you notice a sign, you can easily call, oh, I'm going through this, and a counselor or a therapist will actually speak to you.
Okay,
so
can you leave the links of some of them? Can you call them out, maybe one or two, that anyone struggling with depression can reach out to?
Okay.
Yes. Which of them do you know of?
I know of there is this mental health initiative. Maybe after the call, I can get the
correct
number across to the studio. I know there is mentally awareness. Mentally aware Nigeria,
yes,
that's money.
Yeah, money. Yeah.
Yes. There is Psych Babble in Lagos. Yes, you can call them anyway. I know Psych Babble. There is what's the name of this suicide prevention initiative?
Okay.
There's Lagos Mind. I actually came across one of them last weekend when I attended an event on suicide prevention. So there's Lagos Mind. So there are a lot of them.
Okay, we're running out of time now, but let's hear what is the role of the government in this, and what your final thoughts will be on the program.
What is
the role of the government in this suicide prevention now? And what are your final thoughts on the program? Your final words as regards suicide and prevention?
Okay. Yes, I know that a lot of NGOs are really doing a fantastic job in creating awareness about mental health. So for government, this is a call to support initiative and also inculcate mental health education in our educational system, so that even from primary school, secondary school, people can begin to know what is mental health, how to manage their own mental health, and how to spot these warning signs when they see one. So put funding mental health programs, and also creating insurance in mental health services, so that I'm providing more resources, for crisis intervention, people numbers that people can easily call. These are some of the things government can do. And my final word on this is, if you're having suicidal thoughts or suicidal ideation, yes, I know that suicide and some mental health issues can make you feel alone, that nobody really care about you. But I want you to know that people care about you. And suicide does not actually end the pain. It actually passes it to another person. Right. So reach out, speak up, reach out to loved ones. Actually, suicide and depression, they thrive in isolation. So try as much as possible not to isolate yourself if you're having suicidal thoughts at one point or the other.
All right,
and create a safety plan.
All right, Esther, we're out of time now, but thank you so much. Thank you for coming on the program this morning.
All right, thank you.
Yes, enjoy the rest of your day. All right, you heard it from our guest, Esther Soluade Abiodun. Mental illness is not just when you tear your clothes and walk on the streets.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not just when you eat food from the dustbin or something. It goes beyond that. Depression, she talks about there are a lot of mental issues. Even in depression itself, there's post-traumatic, postpartum depression, where some young mothers, first-time mothers have to deal with, depression of having the child and all. So there are a lot of other mental health issues, and hopefully we'll get to the point where we stop discriminating when someone opens up about suicide. The next thing is this one don't crazy, so you understand, and then there's that further puts the person in isolation. And so, what are your final thoughts?
I think that at this point, just like Esther said and you just mentioned, I think we are at a state in the nation where a lot of people would certainly be going into depression, of course, for a number of reasons. And just like Hester counseled, just speak up, speak to someone.
Yeah.
And if you can, seek the services of a therapist or a counselor. There are those who offer free services. Just talk to someone.
And just try to distract yourself with happy thoughts. Hold on to God. Sometimes, hold on to God. Listen to His word. Refresh your mind with, your mind is renewed when you focus on the right things. There's power in the mind. So just if you can't afford therapy, just do the things that make you happy. And cut your coat according to your size. Just, go with what makes you happy. All right, then that's it on the program. We're out of time. We'll do this again tomorrow, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. I am Kimberly Abiodun. Thank you for being a part of it.
Thank you, too.
Enjoy your day.
This is a public service announcement. According to the World Health Organization, mental health is a state of mental well-being that enables